Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Frank here, working on the forklift conversion. I'm waiting for some parts from McMaster, the swivel ends or heim joints for the steering cylinder, so I can't get on that right this second. So I thought I would look at the dash position and dash mounting. So I spent a bit of time making a cardboard template. So I've made this cardboard template, and it will mount to a piece of angle iron bolted inside the frame here and on the other side. We'll cover the back of it with sheet metal, but it will provide a place to clamp the dash in position. So just getting ready to cut this out, cut the first one of these out on the plasma table. So I've got a new sheet of 1/8 inch or 11 gauge, I guess it's actually 11 gauge material here on the table. I'm going to fill it up with water, charge the air system, and see if we can cut one of these out, something like that. And we'll come back once we're sure the one will fit. We'll come back and cut the second one as well. Let's take this over to the tractor and see how it fits. I mean, there is no dross on the back of this. It looks beautiful, beautiful cut. Fits in there nicely. This is actually going to go on the inside, so this will be on the outside of it. Alright, I think that's perfect. Of course, the section down here will be on the other side of this sheet metal, so this will be on the outside of that. All right, let's go cut another one. That looks good. I removed the parallels so that I wouldn't drill into them. The only thing that's important is the distance between these holes. It should be 6 inches on center. Don't have a lot of excess room on the ends. You being my good boy, huh? Did you come see me? Did you come see me? Did you come see me? Yeah, you're my good boy. Yeah, oh, give me that paw. You being my good brew, huh? You being my good brew? Yeah, being my good brew. Yeah, give me that paw. You're a little wet, doggy. A little stinky and wet. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. What are you doing, Butchie? Huh? That's a good boy. You're a wet puppy. You know that? You're a wet puppy. You're a wet puppy. Yeah, my good boy. Yeah. All right, go on. All right, so I think this is a good fit here. There's still some adjustment there. But I think right there. All right, and there's nothing on the back side there, so that should be fine. And it clears the Frankenstein bolt. So a couple of short 1/2-inch bolts right there. I think that'll work. do see an issue there. Alright, so it's going to hit turning this way. That's a problem. Well, I've run into a problem here, and that is that if the cylinder is down here, the tire hits it when turning left. So there's no way that'll work. I'm looking at other ways to do it. One way would be to raise it up here above the tire, but if I do that, then I need to extend the knuckles vertically, and that puts a lot of potentially puts a lot of stress on the knuckles. But if I do a good enough job with increasing the height of the knuckles, let me show you. So here's the knuckle arm. I would need to bring that up about 4 inches probably. So I would have to build a bracket which would bolt to the knuckle, the other side of the knuckle, the drag link arm and the steering arm. And so I would need to build that up about 4 inches, and it would have to be braced to this whole knuckle. But that's the only simple way that I see right now to deal with the interference of the tire. I mean, there's a possibility to mount it underneath, which, you know, is the way I did it on the motor grader. But I had a different arrangement. I had more space. I'm not jazzed about doing that. I think it'd be easier just to raise it up. But I did discover a problem with this steering cylinder. Look at the damage to the rod. This is galled. And this section goes into the seals. So I'm going to say that these seals are shot, probably. All right, so I think I've worked out the geometry here. In order to clear the tire, I need to raise this point about 3 inches. 3 inches to the center line of this. All right, so I need to build something to raise this steering arm up 3 inches, and it needs to be very strong, because we're putting torque on it. It's now we're making it a lot further away from the pivot point. You know, with more weight on the front wheels. I mean, this axle is designed for a front end loader that's carrying 600 pounds. So the weight on the axle is not a problem with a couple 100 pounds of counterweight. The issue is the torque on the kingpin and this, you know, this angle of the cylinder and getting clearance for the cylinder and everything. So because this came off a different tractor, a different series of tractors, I think like an 1872 maybe, or 1862, something like that. Mid-90s Cyclops, I think is what it was. In any case, it had different steering gear arrangement here, so this makes it a little more complicated to set up. I need to modify this steering knuckle. So I need to raise it 3 inches and create a pivot point up here. And it needs to be strong enough, so it needs to be braced to the other arms. It needs to be strong enough to handle the torque. Okay, that's the next project. Side project. It's getting rainy out there. It's getting wet out there. Come in and check on me again? Yeah, you're a good boy. You're all wet. Alright, so the dash is mounted. Pretty solid. This is a plastic cover which gets screwed down by the throttle control here to make it a little more stable. So it's a little loose right now, but that'll get fixed. But the dash itself, tower, is pretty solid. It will get even more solid when we put the panel on the back here. I'm likely to put the brace, there's a brace that goes across here, and I should put that on, or at least a piece of angle iron to tie those two together to keep it from racking. But it's pretty solid, and I think it's a good solution for the dash, the location of the dash. And it's tapered back so that the mast will have clearance to tilt backwards. So this piece of fender is coming out, and the mast will mount below here, and so this angle here gives clearance for the mast to come back. I've got a piece of scrap 3/8 inch material here, and I'm going to cut a bracket out of this. I'm thinking I would rather mount the steering cylinder under the frame rather than increase the height of the steering knuckle. So this is going to see, I'm going to see if this is going to work. So I'm cutting a couple of pieces out of this piece of scrap here, and I'll go ahead and do that. Alright, I just welded this up, the parts we cut out on the plasma table, welded up. We'll let it cool, we'll come back and mount it to the tractor. What's going to happen is the two bolt holes we've drilled in the frame will this will bolt into those two holes. This will hang down below the frame. We'll put a bolt, half-inch bolt through one of these holes, and there's 3 holes for adjustment purposes. And we'll suspend one end of the cylinder from here, and the other end of the cylinder will go to the drag link connection on the right side of the tractor. So this is what the axle on the tractor looks like. This is a spare axle that I have. And so you can see that it's a pretty heavily built cast iron piece of cast iron. I discovered, working underneath the tractor, that the axle I have has been repaired. I see a repair spot. It looks like it was pretty well done, but I don't know, don't know for sure what its strength will be. I have this. This is an exact duplicate replacement. If I need to use it, I can use this one. It's held in just by one pin right in the middle here. Okay, so this is what the axle looks like, and I'm going to mount the cylinder underneath the tractor almost straight across, or at a slight angle, and I'm going to connect it to this end of the drag link. And so I can, with the cylinder underneath the tractor, it doesn't interfere with the tires. I don't have to build up this pitman arm. So, that saves me that effort and potential problem. Making a good height increase on this that isn't weaker, doesn't redirect the steering force somehow. It solves that problem. So that's the plan. I don't have all the parts here. I've ordered parts from McMaster that will allow me to connect the hydraulic cylinder end to here, but we'll be able to bolt it up, probably be able to bolt it up at least temporarily until those parts come. But anyway, underneath the tractor, that's what we've got, and we'll mount the cylinder at an angle. All right, so we've got, I'm going to attach the end of the cylinder here to this end of the drag link, and I think that allows, that's all the way to the stop there. Most of the way there. I can make this a little shorter. That's all the way to the stop, and that's all the way to the stop. Alright, so that cylinder position is going to work fine. I went on, because I'm concerned about the damage to the the rod here, and the seals leaking as a result. I did go on eBay and found another cylinder. The seller assures me there's no damage to the rod, so that'll come in a week or so. May get in the next episode, I'm not sure. In any case, I think I've solved the issue with the steering geometry here. Having it mounted underneath will be fine. I mean, I have some ability. It's close here, but when I drop this down to on top of the drag link, the pitman arm here, or the drag link arm, I will have to attach. I've ordered another rod end like this style, but this size, which is 3/8 20, 24. Anyway, it's the fine thread here. So I have another rod end like this style, but for this size shaft. And have some bushings here, and so we'll use a 3/8 inch bolt through both of them to tie both of these to this same point. So that solves the steering cylinder location, at least I think it does. We won't know for sure till we get the steering hooked up. Okay, I'm happy about that. Alright guys, that's it for this week. Glad I was able to figure out the steering arrangement here. The more I thought about increasing the height of the steering knuckle, the less I liked the idea of doing it. And I just dawned on me that it would be easy to mount the end of the cylinder with a single bolt underneath. I managed to use the same holes I drilled in the side of the frame. Steering geometry problem solved. Got the dash mounted. We'll come back next time. Perhaps if I have the parts from McMaster, should have them in a couple days, we'll finish tying the steering cylinder in, start working on mounting the power steering and the hydro control levers into the dash. So we'll have to fabricate some brackets to hold them inside the dash. We'll work on that. That may be the most of the next episode. Not sure. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment, hit the bell, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you guys next time.